What's up all you cool snakes and neonates, how's it going? I hope you're all keeping well. It's a horrible, wet and windy day here in Scotland today. What better day to walk outside and get the hose and change waters? Yeah, this isn't going to be fun for me. But it's going to be a water changing day. Isn't that right, Smellies? You're going to get some clean waters? You're going to get some clean waters? Say hello to everybody. This is Shelley, our yellow belly slider turtle. She's giving you a little wave there. We're going to give Shelley some clean water, and we're going to give the axolotls some clean water, because you guys haven't really had much of an update on the axolotls since we got them. So we're going to get an update going on them and change some waters over. Seeing as it's a wet day, we're going to have a wet day inside too today as well, aren't we, sweetheart? There is a weird smell in the living room. Shelley hasn't been eating her fish. And the axolotls, I think their filter needs a clean because there's a horrible film on top of their water as well. So we're going to strip out the axolotls completely, take all the wood and stone and everything out, clean it all, clean the sand, and give them some nice clean decor in their enclosures as well. Let's get into it. So I used this jug there just to skim the top of the water to get that as much of that film off the top of the water as possible. When you put your hands in, it's going to stick to it. Plus, when you top the water up, it's going to sit on the top of the water anyway. So I'll give it another little skim once we get more of the water out and all the stuff and the axolotls out the water. Normally when I'm doing my water changes, I literally just put a hose in, pull some water out down to about here, and then top it back up again, and we're good to go. But today I think we're going to do a full blitz of the axolotls water. So we're going to take this wood up and give it a wash. So I've brought the hose in to start draining out the water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in here, and what I do is I push the nozzle onto the edge of the running filter, onto the nozzle of the running filter, and in that way the filter pushes water down through the hose and starts the suction. And I don't need to do any suction tricks or anything like that with it. I use the filter to push the water through. Once the water's going all the way through the hose, it'll just automatically soak it all up, and it'll be great. So let's get going. It's soaking like a soaking thing. Alright, so we've scrubbed down all the wood, we have siphoned out as much of the sand as possible to keep me sane, because it was quite a tedious task. Cleaned out the filter and all that kind of stuff, so all that's left to do is throw some fresh water in. And 1, 2, 3. Look at that! Waters! So we filled it up with water. It's too cold to put the axolotls back in yet. I did pull them out earlier because I didn't want to risk crushing their beautiful little heads with that massive heavy bit of wood or the rocks as I was setting it up. So whenever you're doing stuff like that, you should always pull the animals out. So they're sitting in a tub right now, just while they're waiting for the water to warm up. We've popped their heater on in there just to speed up the water warming up again back to the temperature that they like. Here in Scotland, and especially in our house, we don't really use that much heating, so their temperature stays around 16 to 18 degrees on a normal day anyway. So we don't even need a cooler here in the winter in their enclosure, which is fantastic. And another thing is that the water quality from the tap here in Scotland is perfect for the axolotls. I don't even need to treat it. I still test it, still keep an eye on it, but water changes are all we need here. About, I would say, once a week through the summer, and maybe even a little less through the winter, just to keep their levels, the temperatures perfect. Of course, it does need cooled through the winter, but yeah, our water parameters and our room temperatures are fantastic here in Scotland, perfect for the axolotls. So that's how these guys have been thriving for so long now. We've had them for, I don't know actually how long, maybe a year, and yeah, minimal care and maximum success we've had with these beautiful animals. So yeah, we'll let that settle in. We'll let the water warm up a little bit and then we'll pop them back in. Let's move on to Shelley's next. Shelley! Where's all your water's gone? It's gone! Oh no! Shelley's lost all of her water. It's all clean and her filter has been cleaned as well. I know what we need to do. Woohoo! Look at that! Bet you guys didn't know Reptile Rich was magic. Did you know Dad was magic, Shelley? Did you? Did you know your daddy was magic? If only water changes were that quick. I've literally been at it all day. I mean, look, it's now dark outside. Like, it's actually dark. Although it's been pretty miserable all day with the weather. It's been pretty dull. Isn't it weird how phone cameras are fantastic when you first get them, but when they're due for renewal, they start to get a bit rubbish. The bad lighting has probably affected the footage a little bit today, but we'll work with what we've got for the time being, boys and girls. So what did you think, Shelley? Do you appreciate the nice clean water? You don't? Okay. She doesn't appreciate anything really. I think she's going off food. I fed her and as you can see she didn't eat it and it went a bit stinky. So I think she's off food just now. That will probably be her for the winter. So the axolotls are in their enclosure. They're nice and happy and their water is a bit nicer as well, so that's awesome. Love a bit of maintenance, love some happy animals with some nice clean enclosures is always pretty awesome, boys and girls. That is one thing to remember when you're looking at getting animals. Remember, especially water type animals, they take a lot of effort, they take a lot of work to keep the waters right. Like I mentioned earlier, we only have to put in minimal effort with the water animals here in this house because the water parameters are pretty perfect. Temperatures in the room are pretty ideal as well. So just a water change like once a week, if that, sometimes does these animals pretty well. A bit more frequently in the summer. But yeah, so we are even minimal effort here and it's still taking me a full day to do 2 full water changes on Shelley the yellow belly slider and Axton and Newt the axolotls. So let's try and feed these chunky monkeys. Well, that one's gone. Oh, and that one's gone. Yep, these guys are quite happy in their new house. These guys are up to earthworms now. The bigger ones get cut in half and they eat the little ones whole, just like that. A chunky little monkey. These guys are doing awesome now. So this is next day. Their temperature's up. Popped them back in last night. I didn't bother filming putting them back in. Wasn't terribly exciting. It's not very easy to do when you're on your own and you have to do all your filming on your own. So they're back in here. They've had a feed. I gave both of them a feed last night. As you can see here, they both smashed their worms. They're both on earthworms, so they're off of the bloodworms, and they get a couple of earthworms cut in half to eat every 2 nights is what they're on. What I'm feeding them anyway seems to work well. But as you can see, the sand is beautifully nice and clean. The water is beautifully nice and clean and it's looking fantastic in there. Much nicer for our boys, you know. You gotta love the axolotls there. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed that. As always, don't forget to comment on the video, like the video. You can subscribe through my ugly mug right there. There'll be a video for you to watch right there. And there'll be a random one for you to watch right there. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Take it easy. Peace.
I'm done. I'm done.